How's everybody doing today? This is L.A.Kendrick with another tale from the vault of Would You Dare. All right. See the merch, nice shirts. But again, I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time, but you know how we do it here. We do it raw, live, at the time, and unedited. We're doing the editing. But I want to share with you guys, it's early. I want to do a story and share something with you guys that was given to me by some guys back home, and I'm from Kentucky. And back in that area, we have a lot of weird stuff that happens, which goes right along with what I'm going to talk about, today. And that's what we talk about that's what we talk about here at Would You Dare. We talk about everything supernatural, ultra-dimensional, cryptid, alien, paradimensional, anything that inspires your imagination and things that you thought or are thinking about, but you can't really express it because life doesn't allow for that anymore, and takes away from the imagination, and you want to just think about and talk about some things that are going on, or what ifs. So again, process this however you process this, take it with a grain of salt, but humble yourselves, man, because again, if these things are not popular or popping, guess what you wouldn't do? You wouldn't have any movies that have this high demand. And as you can see, movies that talk about this kind of thing have great success when written properly. So, don't forget to get a copy of my book, The Foes of God. And let's get started. The party don't start till you walk in, and now that you're here, let's begin. Now, what I want to talk about is something that happened back in the early 80s to mid 80s when we were like 8 or 9, right? 10 years old, somewhere in that age group, right? And there were 3 guys that went fishing. I want to call him Noodles, but he's probably listening right now. I want to call him Noodles, even though I think it's kind of funny. It's not Noodles. I'm just being a joker right now. But it's Pitt, Rusty, and Sparky. All right? It's a motley crew of guys, black and white guys, right? So what they did was they went fishing, and they're going to share with me. They shared with me a horror story that I mean, back in the day, if you were messing around like this, you got called out big time. And we didn't let you off the hook. We punished you. We penalized you for lying and joking and messing around, right? So they give me this story, and I remember it clear. They gave me this story, and it was strange to say the least. And what had happened was they went fishing, and wherever they went, they usually get a lot of good fish, get a lot of good bites, catch a lot of fish, whatever. And they weren't getting as many fish or bites as they say at this particular spot that they normally get a lot of, a lot of fish from. So what they did was they decided to venture in deeper into this area that they hadn't been in before. So I don't know how far in that they went, but they went in pretty deep, they said. And I guess the lake or wherever the water hole took them deeper, they followed the lake, because like I said, it's a lot of wooded area back home in Kentucky. We got land between the lakes. We got a lot of weird stuff that's happened back home. So they go in deeper, they set up, they start fishing. And when they do, they're getting good catches. They're getting what they need, they're loving it, they're having a good time, they're joking. But then Pitt tells me, and I remember Rusty telling me too. Rusty and Sparky are brothers. And Pitt tells me, hey, everything went quiet. And now mind you, Rusty and Pitt told me this at 2 different times. Actually, 3 different times. And they said they're looking around and pretty much everything just went quiet. The birds stopped chirping, whatever was going on stopped. And that's usually a sign of a predator or a sign of a predator. And so they could hear some rustling behind them, and they could hear this low moaning. They didn't understand what was going on. It scared them. Because again, you got to remember, these guys we were 8, 9, 10 years old at that time. And they pretty much, rode in on bikes, from what I remember. And they were looking around trying to figure out what's going on, but they could see some movement behind them in the bushes. And they were like, okay, what the hell is going on, right? So they just got fixated on that area. Then Sparky was saying that he could see something moving back and forth in the wood line. And they all stopped and they looked in that direction, and they said all of a sudden they heard this scream, this roar. Scared them so bad, all of them just pretty much froze in their place. And then out of nowhere, they said this big white hair covered thing about 7 or 8 feet tall comes running out at them, screaming, yelling. They scared them so bad, they said they just jumped on their bikes and they just took off. They left all the fishing equipment, all the fish they had caught. They had caught a lot of fish, they told me. And they got out of there. They thought this thing was going to kill them because of the way that it attacked them. Now, we don't have, like I said, we have bobcats from what I remember. I don't know about bear, maybe some bear, but I'm not sure. And they got out of there, left everything there, scared them to death. And Sparky's the youngest, he wouldn't go back. And when Pitt got home, he told his dad what had happened. His dad said, well, where's my equipment? And Pitt told his dad, well, I left everything there. His dad said, I don't care what was about to kill you or about to get you. You better go back and get my gear. And Pitt convinced Rusty to go back with him to go get the equipment. They went back and got it. And they said once they got there, they said, man, it was just a scene of like chaos. It was pretty much, the area had been flattened out. All the fishing poles had been crushed, broken, snapped. All the fish, only thing that was left from the fish were like the fish heads or something like that, they were saying. They said that was the only thing that was left. And they got what they could, and they got out of there because they thought that thing was going to come back and kill them. Scared them to death. And I have recently talked to Pitt about this, and his story is still the same, it hasn't changed, right? So I did a little digging, and this is what I found. Let me see here. This is what's weird. And this is the 1980s Bigfoot sighting remembered. And this was published in October 30th, 2015, right? Get this out the way. I hate these ads when these ads pop up. And let me see. Let me turn it this way. All right. Okay. In early October, the Charles Fulton family of Slip Up near Mays Lick reported seeing a white-haired creature with pink eyes standing more than 7 feet tall and weighing more than 400 pounds at their doorstep. After they attempted to get into the house and assaulted a chicken, Charles Fulton chased after the creature, but it evaded him and disappeared into the night. A week later, on October the 10th, 1980, the Toomey family of Ewing reported a similar incident, chasing the creature into the night with James Chink Toomey, firing warning shots from a distance. He described the creature as man-like and big, making a thumping noise as it ran. According to reports, 2 loaves of bread, a frozen chicken, and a pack of hot dogs were missing from the freezer, his wife told police. Food products from the family freezer, which had been on an enclosed porch, were found in the yard by the police and neighbors who came running when they heard the gunshots. You could see where whatever it was had made a mess on the porch, got into the freezer and had torn into the frozen meat, said Estelle Helfenstein, one of the men who searched the woods for the perpetrator, and the police were called. We didn't know what we were looking for. We had guns and good lights and went into the woods. Helfenstein and the late Johnny Burke searched the woods but couldn't find the creature, he said. We did find bare footprints that were about 14 inches long and probably 6 inches wide in the creek bed. We both saw it and there's no denying it. Helfenstein can laugh about the situation now, but on that dark night in 1980, they were serious about the search. It was scary in those woods in the dark and not knowing what you might find, he said. At the time, Maysville Mayor David Cartmel was publishing competition for the Ledger Independent and covered the creature sighting at length in the front page stories in the Mirror, even publishing an artist rendering of an image of the creature. Back then, you could publish anything, Cartmel said, reminiscing with a smile. We had interviews with all sorts of people and more claims of seeing it. One guy at a tobacco warehouse said he saw it carrying a burlap sack and smoking a cigar. The stories were the talk of the town. One woman reported being chased around the parking lot by the creature when she stopped for change at the laundromat. It sold a lot of newspapers, said Bob Henderson, the Ledger Independent publisher. It was that time of year, so we ran with it, Cartmel said. We had fun with it, and even though it was probably a hoax. Fleming County Sheriff, the late G.W. White, was called to the scene of the Ewing incident, but a search by the neighbors and the police into the early morning did not locate the creature. Searches continued with some residents claiming to have found 14-inch imprints in the sand of a barefoot creature. Police were able to recover hair samples from the home site, which were turned over to Kentucky State Police and were reportedly from a human, police said. They always say that. And the story did not stop with local police. On October 5th, 1980, an Alabama truck driver, Noble Clay, apparently unaware of the other sightings, reported seeing the creature along US 68 near Maysville, mistaking it for a hitchhiker until he saw it closely in the bright headlights of his truck. He notified police. It has been more than 35 years since the region had sightings of the creature, but questions about what frightened folks from Ewing, Mays Lick, and beyond in 1980 continues to this day. The creature was never found. An artist rendering on October 11, 1980 edition of the Mirror News report depicts the big hairy thing alleged to be stalking the county at the time. Anyone with information on the creature should call 606-564-9091, extension 276. That's what I dug up. Now, there's got to be some validation to something, right? Where did this story come from? There's a story. And Pitt does not do internet stuff very often at all. So he has no idea. So what I did, I forwarded that email to him, and I forwarded that website and link so that he can see for himself, is this what happened? Is this what you saw? Does this have some kind of resemblance to the creature you guys saw that you guys thought was going to tear you limb from limb? I'm telling you, man, it would have freaked me out. And ask yourself that question. Would you dare want to be caught out there at the age of 10, 8, 9 years old, or even in our, at the age you are now, fishing, and all of a sudden some huge 7-foot, 400-pound creature comes running at you with bloodlust in his eyes, wanting to kill you, and possibly run you out of the area, but either way, some harm is going to be done to you. Makes you think, man. I wouldn't. So I'm going to wrap it up. All right? Again, humble yourselves, man. Stop playing. You go to the movies all the time, or you did go to the movies a lot, and you were checking out movies that were along this kind of genre. These movies make a lot of money. So don't act like you're not interested in what could be out there. And don't be so narrow-minded as to think there's nothing else out there, that you have all the answers. But again, that's your philosophy and that's your mindset. I'm going to close it out. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe, and follow me, okay? Don't forget to get a copy of my book, The Foes of God, right? We're trying to get a book signing set up now. So you guys make sure that you get a copy of this book. This book is incredible. Action, sci-fi, all the way through from beginning to the end. It's the ending of the Destiny versus Chaos series, okay? You guys, please get a copy. Very good book, very thick book, put a lot of time into it. And yeah, in closing, this ends another tale from Would You Dare? Remember, check your homes, check your dark closets and the dark recesses of your home. If you happen to work late at night or way into the wee hours in the morning, just like it is right now, make sure you check inside of your car, under your car. Be mindful of your surroundings, because you never know what's lurking in the dark white-haired, 7 foot, covered, waiting to make you a story. And until next time, you guys be safe. This has been L.A.Kendrick. You feeling the rest.